Hi, everyone. I'm happy to be here, happy to meet old friends and meet new friends. And what I'm going to talk about today is actually a program that I already presented in Milan 3 years ago. But since we had a major development since then, I would like to follow up with you on the program. And I think this program can be interesting for smaller organizations in some countries. So what I'm going to talk about is our assistive technology program in Israel and the cost of achieving your goals, which is a dilemma I had to deal with in the last year. Just to give you some background to those of you who are not familiar with Israel, we estimate we have about 600 ALS patients in Israel, and we in our organization know approximately 500 of them. What is our assistive technology program? A few years ago, we decided strategically, since communication is such a core issue in ALS, that we're going to try and reach out to as many patients as possible and try to enable them to continue and communicate with their loved ones. The topic is a huge problem in Israel because none of the authority or healthcare systems take responsibility for communications. So if we weren't there to do that, it means that the patients are on their own to find the solution and to pay for that. So we establish a system, and we have a team of 4 occupational therapists that are special in assistive technology. And we fund home visits or work visits to each patient that contact us every stage of the disease. So if a patient contacts us, we send an occupational therapy to their home. They do the entire evaluation, and they get a full recommendation to what will be the correct or right technology for them at that stage of the disease. After they get the technology or the equipment, the occupational therapy will come again and help them learn how to work with the technology. Each patient is eligible to get from us those 2 visits in every stage in the disease where he needs to replace the technology and move to the next phase. So if they got a head mouse and worked on it for a year and now they need the eye gaze, we will be there again for them to help them get the technology. Up until 2015, the structure of our program was that we paid for the service, the patients pay a very small copay, but we paid the OTs for the service, and the patient themselves and the families had to pay the cost of the equipment, because as I said, the state or the healthcare system was not involved in this at all. So we were coming and giving the service, and then the patient got the recommendation and had to go and buy the eye gaze, which is very expensive. As all of you know, we're talking about thousands of dollars. We didn't like this situation for our patients, and we had a huge fight, and we happily succeeded last year to make the government take responsibility for all the equipment part. And now everything is covered by the government. So since 2016, which is the last year, we still pay for the service because the government is not taking any responsibility for the service and the visits, but pays for the equipment. So the major portion of the cost is now covered by the state, which is a great achievement because in the first structure that I presented, what happened that we had many patients that were not been able to afford the cost of the systems and didn't buy them and were still communicating with the plastic board, with the letter boards. Now, when the government pays for the equipment, we see many patients that for years could not communicate come back to life and get the equipment from the state, from the government. In the first structure that I presented until 2015, we were used to do about 100 home visits per year. And I remind you the cost is on our organization, and we are a very small organization. With the new structure, What happened is that demand for our visits doubled because people now could get the equipment for free from the government, and they all say, I want to communicate, I want to be there, I want to have an impact on my quality of life. So they are contacting us for visits, but then this year we had 200 home visits. So we are here in a dilemma because we achieved a great goal and we enable many more patients to communicate, but someone has to pay for that, and that's us. So while we achieved our goal and many more PALs are communicating with advanced technology systems, we have doubled the cost of the program. And I remind you, we're a very small organization. So what do? We have to come up with the money or tell people we're not giving them the service anymore. And that was never an option for us, because we see this as a strategic value for us to enable all ALS patients in Israel to communicate. And that was never an option. I just had to come up with a solution and the money. We were considering few options and venues, and I'm happy to present here that only a few weeks ago, after I wrote this abstract, we partnered with one of the leading cellular companies in Israel, and this partnership now resulted in many outcomes, but there are two relevant outcomes to our program. One, financial support of the program. They're going to cover the entire program so we can continue and do the service to our patients. Whoever wants to get the service, the home visits now, can get it, and I don't have to worry about the money. The second outcome is we expand the program, because what happened till now is that after the patient got the equipment, he got one more visit from our OT, and then they were on their own to implement and train themselves working on, and especially on the eye gaze, we know that the training period it can be long if someone wasn't used to work on computer before. But what happens now when the government pays for the system? They set up a period of 3 months that the patient needs to prove that they are working on their system. They say that after that they're going to take it, but it never happened yet. But it's out there, the threat is out there that if you are not going to use the system, it may be taken away from you. So we have to make sure that those patients train and use the systems. So what we're going to do with this company, we're going to establish a group of volunteers that will help with implement the technology. And the program now expanding that after they get that technology, each patient will get 10 or 12 or 5 visits, depending on how many they need, from a volunteer that will be trained on the equipment to help them train and implement their knowledge on those 3 month periods so that system will not be taken away from them. So I can say here that we're starting 2017 stronger, with more abilities to enable all PALs in Israel to be heard. And I'm very happy about that. Thank you. You didn't even stand up? No. Any questions? You?
Efrat, who's providing the training for the volunteers on the technology?
Yeah, we will. The team of our OTs will be providing the training to the volunteers. We're going to have a 1 day of training on head, mouth, eye gaze, everything. And we are taking volunteers that are tech pros or techies, so it will be easier, I hope.
You said you had 600 patients of ALS in Israel, and you know 500. That's a lot of work. How do people come to you? Because we have 1,500 patients, and we know 600, so we're way down from what you...
We're a small country, and we have several...
Holland is very big. No.
Yeah. We have several clinics that our staff of social workers is sitting in the clinic, so every newly diagnosed patient that's coming to the clinic meet our team. We have a website, we're on the media, we do many steps to be known, and it's, you know, mouth to ear, and it's a large percentage for, and the missing portion is a project I presented here a year or 2 years ago, is demographically, there are sectors in Israel that we are not there yet, like the Arab sector or the ultra-Orthodox sector. And we're getting there because we have a very beautiful special project for that. And I hope that in a year or two I will be able to say that we know most of the patients.
As regards the devices that you use, the visual communication devices, which devices are you using? What type of devices? And did you get the government to pay 100% of them? And what is the cost in Israel of those devices?
We're talking about the eye gaze system, so we are using either the My Gaze or the Tobii, but I'm not very techy, so don't hold me on that. And the cost it was, no, I can't speak in shekels, so it was I think several $1,000s. Yeah, like $5,000 or $6,000 maybe. Yeah. Does it make sense? Yes. Yes. Yeah. Dollars?
Efrat.
Okay, so I'm not sure. Don't catch me on that.
Hi.
And the government is paying 100% of the cost. Yeah.
Back here, Efrat. This is amazing. Congratulations to you and your organization. I think this is something that all of our organizations would hope that our governments would provide this service to the people that we aim to serve. So congratulations for this. Now that you're starting this, what are you going to do with all of these devices after that person reaches the end of their disease and is no longer using the device? Do those devices stay with your organization? Do they go back to the government?
They never were our...
Okay.
They go back to the health ministry. I'm sure they refurbish them or do whatever they need and re-deliver them to a new patient.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Efrat. In Italy, I'm Cristian Lunetta. In Italy, we had the same opportunity in the 2007, thanks to the fund for the assistive technology for our patients. And there was the same problem, because you have the fund for the devices, but the problem is the service around the devices. During these 9 years, we worked to stimulate the provider of the devices to develop the service that include the training, the evaluation of the devices. In fact, every patient can try three devices provided from 3 societies, and the patient's choices the devices, and the company provided the training, provided the assistance during the use, because another problem is the change of the clinical condition patients. In some cases, you have patients that start with the head mouse, but during the few months, you need the gaze. And in fact, in the last year, the government uses not to buy the devices, but to start a services with the company that include the instruments, that include the change of the instrument in case of change of clinical condition. And could be an opportunity because reduce the cost of the organization, of your organization, and improve the service for the patients.
So the suppliers that supply those systems in Israel, they can do training, but they charge a lot of money for that. So that's what I'm trying to prevent from our patients to pay. And another thing is that our OTs are, they have only the professional judgment. They don't have any marketing incentives. So if they have two different systems and they have their own equipment, they try everything with the patients to see what suits them the best. And so does the government that provides. They don't tell us you do that or the other. You do what's best for the patient. So I'm not sure I want to be involved in any business strategy here of companies. I want to keep us as professional as we can for the benefit of our patients.
Little comment. In Italy, the process started in a clinical center that decide
Okay.
the devices and introduce the patient to the devices, and after start the evaluation of the devices provided from different society.
I think what's unique on this program is that we don't have a clinical center that people come to, and mobility is an issue in Israel, and transportation is an issue. So the home visits are solving this problem, and a patient can choose whether they want to be assisted on the technology at home or their workplace if they still work. So we come out to them. So again, it's a small country. You don't have to travel for thousands of miles, okay? But we don't have a center that they come to us. We go to them, and I think this is what's unique about this program.
Okay, thank you.
Am I done?